After his quest to retrieve the orb and the sceptre, the rightful ruler has returned. But all is not well in the city of Irsmuncast nigh, for an army of foes, spawn of the rift, have risen up and assaulted the city. Not only that, but rumour has it they are marshalled by one ancient foe, an old enemy. Sorcerak, the leader of the Legion of the Sword of Doom, has brought death and destruction to this fair city, and it is up to the ruler to defend it. But he is no mere mortal politician. This is Avenger. He is ninja, and he follows the way of the tiger. I am Ninja. My parents are the heaven and the earth. My home is my body. My power is loyalty. My magic is training. My life and my death is breathing. My body is control. My eyes are the sun and the moon. My ears are sensitivity. My laws are self-protection. My strength is adaptability. My ambition is taking every opportunity with fullness. My friend is my mind. My enemy is carelessness. My protection is right action. My weapons are everything that exists. My strategy is one foot in front of the other. My trust is in quality. My way is the way of the tiger. Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry, and it's time for some more of The Way of the Tiger. Now this map might look a little bit different to the one at the end of the last episode, and I will explain. While we left off at section 58, I'm actually going to go back to section 48. Funny I just mentioned it. Must have been on my mind. Because last time I was sleepy and it was late and I didn't realise something very important about this section. So, where are we? The crossbowmen have wheeled around, poised to unleash a deadly volley into the flank, when Force Lady Gwyneth, fighting alongside her troops, orders a fighting retreat. She has no choice other than to face swift annihilation. So here, that means the crossbowmen have actually crossed over, so we will move them over. And rotated significantly like this. However, I'm going to shunt them sideways a bit to make a more obvious gap between them and our cavalry. Lady Gwyneth here has to retreat. She's got the heavy cavalry coming crashing in, the infantry, all 5,000 of them, bless any that have died so far. I think we can safely presume at this point our wood elves in the woods are facing that way, firing arrows. Right? And if they aren't, they will do soon as we retreat to help cover our retreat and disorder this group a little. However, the main reason for going to this section is this.
Desperately, they give ground rapidly, fighting hard, retracking towards the gap between the farm and Woodnucket Wood. So she is falling back to the space between this farm here and this forest here. She's backing up to here. And we can give a little more ground to make it a little more obvious. Quickly, you order your reserve, 1,000 men of Sorcerak forwards into Hartwig Fell's farm. So what I've done is I've created a new unit of Swordsmen of Beartan reserves, and also, according to the deployment map, we have 600 cavalry from Avenge here who are waiting, poised to strike. Currently, we are reserving all our cavalry and not committing them. Honoric's cavalry are currently committed. So, compared to his 500 cavalry, we have 800, 600, and another 500 over here. We have a lot more cavalry than him. He has an infantry-heavy force, but a lot of it. I checked the deployment maps, and the cavalry here are on all 3 deployment maps that we have. So I think we can safely assume that the numbers which came from the spires... Was it the spires? No, from Sorcerak, which would be Hivatala's shield maidens and cavalry, and the 1,000 followers of Beartan described in the section where they turned up. And we were told, a few days later, some turn up from Avenge as well. That would be these and these. And of course, the White Wizard is over the wood fighting with the Wyverns at the moment. We don't know what's going on with the monks of the Scarlet Mantis. They've done their dirty deed. They might be a one-hit wonder, right? They've essentially broken the swordsman. Oh no, these are his swordsmen who chased off. They destroyed the mercenaries. So, the importance of this... I misread that when I was sleepy. I thought these men from the ford fell back to the farm and might have overlooked the cavalry or not paid attention because I thought they didn't exist or just didn't notice them on the map. But here we are now. So we're in a much better position. So now we're going to go back to section 58 and see how the conundrum we were faced with is a much smaller problem than it was before. You had told the White Mage of what you had seen some hours earlier. Standing nearby, he says quietly, "My time has come, Overlord." And then he mutters something inaudible. Suddenly he takes to the air, to the astonishment of all those on Colwyn's mound, and flies towards the Wicker Wood. Just then, 3 winged creatures, the wyverns, flap up from behind Manor Ridge and streak towards the men of the spires. The White Mage, high in the sky, his robes glittering in the sun, flies to meet them with bolts of lightning, words of power and potent magic. The wyverns encircle him, lunging with their jaws and whipping their poisoned barbed tails. Antocitus and his mercenaries are fleeing the field completely, pursued by some of Honoric's cavalry from the spires. The Bringers of Death are preparing to charge Gwyneth and her retreating infantry. At the ford, the pressure is increasing, and a courier reaches you asking that you order the cavalry of Avenge to charge in to attempt to throw back the warriors of Mortavalon who are trying to outflank your allies there. So, they're asking for this cavalry force to come in here and fight the men of Mortavalon, who are trying to sneak around the side while the men of the Spires and the Legion of Avenge are pressing forwards on the front. We could say the men of Mortavalon are on that side and it's a charge there, or it could be a curving charge around here. Who knows, right? The men of Beartan from Sorcerak are now taking up position in Hartwig Fell's farm, so we already have backup here to assist over there. And the followers of Beartan have held the ford quite well, right? They're doing a really good job. We don't need to worry about this quite so much. I can't leave them there undefended forever, but they can probably fall back to the farm and reunite with this group. In which case I'll just take the second unit off the map. I think it just says one unit there. Will you order Gwyneth's cavalry to charge the flank of the Legion of the Sword of Doom to try and make time for Gwyneth to pull back, and order the cavalry of Avenge to do as requested? So, Gwyneth's cavalry come round. I'm doing map tools arrows again, it's not showing. Spacebar does nothing. So bring these round here so they don't get shot to bits by the crossbowmen. Charging the crossbowmen might be bad for cavalry because there's less armour on the horses, because the horses need to be able to move physically. You know, all the joints and limbs and everything. And then there's the heavy cavalry as well, so we really need to take pressure off here. So the question is, we do that, or order both units to charge the Legion in support of Gwyneth. So, here's the thing. Gwyneth's cavalry are going in here whatever we do, right? So it's a case of, where do these horsemen... Yes, Reza spelled Avaneg incorrectly because I just added them hastily. I also noticed that I'd put the wrong size bases on this cavalry, which is why... and this cavalry, which is why these units look too small. I've fixed that. So if we zoom all the way in, just a minute, you can see they're on long horse bases. Actually, bizarrely, they seem to be on short infantry bases, then long horse bases. That's very weird. Let's go look at these. They're on proper horse bases. So, not fully sure what's going on here, or why they're stacked up that way, but... okay, let's just change it. 30... 20. If we zoom in now, the bases are the correct size. Okay. Good to know. So, changing the base size, I also need to just fiddle with the ranks a little. Okay, we'll go 15 wide, change it to 10 wide again. There we go. Now we have our cavalry here. 50 by 10, yeah, we could go, what, 25 wide and be too deep? No, that's not really going to work, is it? So, this also means the Women of Horngroth cavalry might need their bases checking as well. Yeah, they're on normal bases. Okay, let's fix that. And we will go 25 and change it back to 10. There we are. Big ass cavalry unit. About the same number as, let's see, 50, 50, yeah. Memories of being a teenage student. And teenage student, late night telly, and the oft-repeated shit advert for some crappy sex phone line in the 90s that was played repeatedly in virtually every ad break at late night. It was, come on, cool, chat back. 0891 50 50 50. 0891 50 50 50. And that would be the whole advert, right? There'd be some people dancing while some shit music played. It was like, yeah, you get the idea, right? And like strobe lights. It was bad stuff. Apparently, it was just like for gay men to hook up or something. Apparently, but anyway, I only found that out this year, and I'm like, bloody hell, I haven't really had to put up with those adverts for about 20 years now. Thank goodness, 20, 25 years. Horrible stuff. Anyway, horrible stuff exists. What the fuck is? Wait. Oh yeah, that is cavalry. That's infantry. Right. Good. Okay. So I think at this point we hammer the Legion of the Sword of Doom with both units of cavalry. They have heavy armor, heavy equipment, heavy training. They can take the hard hits, right? So we go in hard and commit both units of cavalry to the same place because the men of Avenge can hold out at the ford a little bit longer. That being said, the Horngroth cavalry is probably waiting for... They've been waiting for a while, but we need to keep... yeah. Maybe they're waiting for our cavalry to leave. So we send both cavalry units into the Legion to support Gwyneth so she can retreat. Because, okay, our cavalry aside, thing about cavalry, it can hit really hard, but it doesn't have the same sort of staying power as good solid infantry, right? The cavalry is your hammer, it is not your anvil. So, here's the thing. If this flank collapses, if we do not give Gwyneth time to retreat, then we've got the Legion of the Sword of Doom, their cavalry and their crossbowmen all coming in on this side to demolish the followers of Bayatan, at which point we're just holding the ford and they can just overwhelm, and these don't even have to do anything. They can just sit and watch and laugh as they just roll, and then these will just be dead in a bit. Anyway, we'll probably be dead before that's our command centers on this hill here, right? They are converging on this point, so we need to give her time to pull back to say about here and turn to face them and be ready to fight. So both units of cavalry are required for this. Because if we only send the one unit and the other unit goes over here, thing is, these horsemen will then be fighting at the ford, and the ford might be a disadvantage to cavalry, right? Just like the stream here is. So, Gwyneth's cavalry charges forwards, as does the cavalry of Avenge, sweeping around the swordsman of Irsmuncast's flank to get at Legion of the Sword of Doom. Gwyneth's cavalry is intercepted by the Bringers of Doom and a cavalry skirmish ensues. But the Legion of the Sword of Doom is forced to turn and face the threat of a cavalry charge from the men of Avenge, and Force Lady Gwyneth is able to pull back safely to safety. Oh. Hang on. Oh no, this is a cavalry charge. Okay. Instantly, your cavalry breaks off its attacks before it is cut off and retires to Crossway Copse. Glyfdal's elves unleash a volley of deadly arrows from Woodnugget Wood, and the Legion of the Sword of Doom retires a few paces where they and their cavalry regroup, preparing to assault Hartwig Fell's farm. So, let's rotate. Let's just drag. That works, right? Then we will pull these down to here. These charge up to there and engage. These come, no, that way. Like that. And these have to turn and face them. And I will have to move those sideways to make room. Now, we do not know how many casualties units have suffered. I'm keeping units at full strength at this point, just to keep things simple, right? So here's our turn here, and obviously damage is happening over here. Then at this point, the copse is here, isn't it? So then we recall both units of cavalry back to here. Breaks off his attacks before it is cut off and retires to Legion. Look, the Legion backs up a few paces to catch their breath, reorganize. So we got a great big fight going on in here. And then what happens is if the Legion is preparing to attack the farm, I think Gwyneth has fallen back to the farm. Or we'll pull her back down here, right? Then this cavalry goes over to here and turns around. Nothing to do with Bright Eyes. Fuck off, shit song. And then this... No. Fuck off, lady. You're fine. Just stay there like that. Then this cavalry also goes back to here, right? Presumably actually pointing that way. And these I will shunt them sideways a bit. As we now have somehow 860, 1400 cavalry here, minus any casualties they have taken, right? The Legion had to hold off, you know, just the arrows stopped them for a bit, but then they are looking to come attack this farm, which means that these have to be in the space between the farm and Wood Nugget Wood, which is this one, I believe. Let's quickly check section 24 for the map. The Wickerwood. Wood Nugget Wood and the farm. Oh, so she's pulling back to here. I see. I see. Yeah, so she's like here now, right? And I'll just rotate that. And you know what? Ugh. Okay, so if I go 10 by 10, right? That becomes a more square formation and fits in the space. And I'll just go sideways a little to make that a bit more obvious. So then we will generously position these here. And we'll put this cavalry there-ish, right? As they are... No. Other rotation. Other way. And you know what? I think I should inflict some casualties. So, we do know the men... Right, so here's the thing though, right? I'd like to take away about half of the followers of Bayartan at the ford, because they've been taking heavy losses. But, if I combine them with this unit here, into one big unit, I should just remove one unit off the map. So I'm leaving all the units at full size for now, even if some of them really don't deserve to be. I don't know where the crossbowmen are. Right, because we're at 88, aren't we? It's all 8s at the moment. Instead, Legion of the Sword, where they and their cavalry. Well, presumably, and we can back them up a bit, right? They don't need to be quite this close. Presumably, these are coming down this way as well, right? So we'll just put them there. Back it up a little. They should probably be out in front of the infantry or cavalry to shoot and then disperse. We'll rotate these a little more to make it extra obvious. No. Now, the cavalry can't come in here and fight. The infantry might be able to, but it's only 200 archers, and there's... After the significant fighting at the ditch and being disordered and dismayed, there's probably less than 5,000 of them. But there's still so many that they are, you know, can probably just push ahead, you know, ready their shields now that... Because they were charging before, right? They weren't defending themselves from the flank so much. So this may have been the first time the elves were shooting. Okay. Then your attention is drawn to the ford, where the cavalry of Horngroth has charged the defenders. We will just go wonk. Right? Get those in there. No, like that. Right? Sideways a bit. At this point, they are really heavily outnumbered and can't do much more. The men of Avenger are taking heavy losses and are beginning to give ground slowly, fighting every centimetre of the way, but their position is looking more and more tenuous. The enemy will be able to cross this ford very soon. I'll do a slight rotation to the right as they retreat, but they should probably be heading to the farm, and we are probably going to need to decide if we're sending our cavalry to ford to defend or charging into the mass ranks of the Legion here. The threat of attack from the cavalry of the Legion of the Sword of Doom is such that Hengist urges you to move the command post to a knoll at Crossway Copse. Okay. So the cavalry is here and they can unopposed come down straight and take us out. So we are moving to Crossway Copse. There we go. We are with Doré le Jeune for all intents and purposes at the moment. Hurriedly, you prepare to do so, but before you do, will you order the cavalry of Sorcerak on the far left to race across the old bridge to the aid of Baal and his men at the ford, or order the cavalry of Avenger and Irsmuncast, now at Crossway Copse, to do so? Alright. First off, we can order the cavalry of Sorcerak, who are just waiting here and haven't done anything yet, to ride all the way round here. Or we can order all our cavalry to ride to here to attack. The issue we have here is this. I'm going to turn these round, just because I probably should. If this whole mass of units comes crashing in here, they're going to need heavy cavalry support. Now, we don't say these horsemen are facing this way. They're all sort of here and they can come charging out as and when they are needed, and it would help stop an assault by the Legion. Our only concern here is that if these cavalry take too long to get here, we will be in serious trouble. But this unit isn't doing anything, right? And these 1,500 soldiers can easily hold the bridge against those 4,000 peasant feudal levies, right? Essentially. So I think, yeah, we absolutely send this unit round here, because this is where the battle is happening. This is a bridge, we can absolutely bottleneck them and hold them at the bridge. So it's only a matter of if that distance is too much. Okay. As you hurriedly relocate to Crossway Copse, the cavalry of Sorcerak reaches the ford just in time to bolster up the flagging defenders. A brave, desperate charge, and the attackers are hurled back across the ditch, only to come howling back again. As soon as the cavalry leaves Bridge Beam, the Doom over levies charge across the bridge. So, first off, this comes to here. And at this point, I don't want to just go across the river, so I'm going to actually use the movement controls now. But it's going to just do it anyway, isn't it? Yeah, okay, fine. So we just put them there, right? No, fuck you. I came around that way. There we go. So we slam in with the smaller... Well, no. It's one cavalry unit instead of two cavalry units, okay? Actually, yeah, it is the smallest portion of our cavalry, literally. So then these, that's a very narrow bridge. So we will put them in, what, 20 files. I'm not going to put them in 10 because that'd be like actually across the bridge. That's probably not. Looks about right, actually, doesn't it? Okay. So they come charging over to fight, while the women of Horngroff who hate them watch on from behind. Okay, might have gone a bit far there. Probably a few too many clicks. I mean, they're certainly showing their intent. Now let's move them back quite a bit. I will go 20 just because. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just to get them out of the enemy formation. Because there are a lot of them, but they lack the training, they don't have good quality equipment, and they're bottlenecked by the narrow bridge. The warrior women of Dharma are cutting them down in droves, but whenever the levies try to run, they are met by the swords of the women of Horngroff and are forced to continue the assault. Your eyes are holding fast, but they are slowly but surely taking casualties. I mean, it's literally like orcs and goblins or Skaven. They're like, fuck off, you don't run away or we'll kill you, right? So we will even move these in here. And they might even cut down some who try to flee because they hate them that much. Right? On the right, the Legion of the Sword of Doom rushes to attack again with a blood-curdling scream. However, a light but deadly stream of arrows from wood-knucked wood causes them to veer into the farm itself. Its wooden fences are much easier to defend, and the Legion is not making much headway, but the fighting is bitter and bloody. So let us absolutely... Oh, you know what? That's the wrong unit. Let's progress the turn, because it's clearly Honoric doing things here. So we will absolutely charge these forwards. Looks like they were heading for Gwyneth's troops, but the arrows have forced them away and they've headed into the farm instead. Even though the previous section said they were going to attack the farm anyway. So we're just going to slam these right down here. We'll just go like this. Okay, no we won't. We'll just wait for them to finish moving and then rotate them when they... Whoa, no, okay. Yep. Right. It's not really scooping like this, it's scooping like that instead. But anyway, we will finish the sideways movement. And then go forwards a little. We'll take a rotate. Okay. That was a little bit too far. So we go like that. Let's turn back. 1, 2, 3. One more. And then 2 forwards. Yes. And we will probably be able to commit Gwyneth's troops here to help out as well. However, there's a lot of cavalry here who need dealing with. Alright? But the Bringers of Doom and the cavalry of Vash Row are the Bringers of Doom are the cavalry of Vash Row. Come charging hell for leather around the edge of Hartwig's farm, intent on swinging into the rear of Gwyneth's already badly mauled infantry. Oh, so they are actually coming around like that. Let's just... That's a good move, actually. Because if he goes around that side, he'll get shot by the archers. He could assault the farm. But this is really bad for him, right? It's good that he's trying to finish off the weakened unit, but it's bad that he's done it while we've got 2 cavalry units sitting right here, and a third one, potentially, that is probably much needed over here fighting at the ford. So this is, while it's he's trying to stop them from reinforcing the warriors at the farm, or he just sees them as vulnerable and wants to pick them off. And we've got our rangers here who haven't done anything yet, right? As well. And he's also threatening our command post, which is right here. So we're going to have to crush that with our mass amount of cavalry. Dore Lejeune says that the cavalry of Irsmuncast and Avenger have no choice but to intercept them and ask you to lead the charge with him. You know what? He's a knight. He knows how to fight battles. And he's not wrong in this case. We need to stop this cavalry dead before it can continue. Probably slam those in the side and them in the front. Hengist quickly advises you not to go. You are too important to risk, Overlord, he says. Will you order Dore Lejeune to lead the charge, or lead the charge yourself? We are the king. If we chicken out and don't lead the charge ourselves in this decisive moment, our army will lose faith in us, they'll be less effective, and we will really start to suffer. So we will lead the charge ourselves. You gallop forwards on your white charger, Dore Lejeune and his paladins beside you, to take up a position at the head of your cavalry. For Irsmuncast and freedom, you cry, lifting your sceptre high as Dore Lejeune shouts, For Rocheval! Did we fight a duel with Honoric before the battle? We did indeed, and we won. Although winning may not be important. Well, of course we won. He would have killed us otherwise. He was fighting to the death. We weren't. Right, so if we lost, we wouldn't be being asked this question. A roar of approval thunders from the throats of your soldiers, and you charge into battle. 1,200 warriors at your back, which means 80, and so the 1,400, they've lost 100 each, right? So we'll cut that down to 50. We'll put them in 5 by 10. 10 by 5, right? So 10. Ugh. Okay, no. 5. No, we can't go 10 it is then. Fine. And we'll knock off 10 of these, go 70. 70 by 20 is not easy, but if we zoom in, we'll see some are dead already. We go like, yeah, we've lost part of a rank there at both ends. So let us commit these to the front. I mean, these are still moving, right? But we need to be able to actually fit the models in. So, sure. And we probably need to move our rangers when I can get to them. Right. Glavis's rangers, let's just move them sideways a lot. Hello, are you even moving? You must be. While we... well, yikes. Ah, good. They are finally moving. Hooray. Let's send the Golden Crowned Dore Lejeune in here and the other cavalry in here, which probably is coming in a narrower formation just to fit between the... okay, fuck it. If we go 35 wide, they'd only be... it'd be stupid, right? So if we go 10 wide, We're like 10 by... Actually, that fits quite nicely. Yeah, it fits between the forest and the hill. And that's what matters at the moment, okay? So at this point, his cavalry are highly trained, heavily armoured. Our cavalry are possibly even more well-trained than his, but not as well armoured and equipped. And these are kind of lower quality cavalry, but there's a hell of a lot of them, right? Because these have probably taken some losses as well from the cavalry skirmish earlier. I mean, if we lost 100 fighting them, they probably lost 100 as well, right? Actually, let's do that. Let's absolutely... There we go. They're now 40 by 10, right? So 4 ranks deep. Anyway. As the enemy rides to meet you, the bringers of doom hold their swords up. You notice that many of them have black glowing blades. It becomes clear that they have a similar effect to Honoric's sword Sorcerak, for fear radiates from them like a wave of nauseous horror. But using the power of the sceptre to inspire loyalty, you sense that this is counteracted by the effects of fear magic. This is counteracting the effects of the fear magic. The two sides meet with a resounding crash and the ring of steel on steel. You find yourself face to face with a cavalryman of the Bringers of Doom, a cataphract clad from head to toe in fish-scale armour, but you manage to dispatch him. The rolling melee careers around, a desperate and vicious fight with no quarter given or asked. To the death! Suddenly, in the midst of battle, a figure appears before you, strangely on foot. Your orb glows brightly. Magic sight reveals that it is an old one, perhaps the same one you fought when you strove for the crown of Irsmuncast in Usurper, Book 3. But its robes protrude tentacles, and its mouth is rimmed with long tentacular appendages. One writhing hand is curled around a heavy glowing mace. Those battling groups of warriors nearby back away, leaving a small arena. So, Avenger, you have come this far, but this is where your upstart reign ends, it whispers sibilantly. You must fight it. You cannot kick or throw as you are on horseback, but you can use your mace-like sceptre in your fists. We can use the tiger's paw punch, drive the sceptre at it to try and strike it with the sceptre, and... Just a moment here. If we look at the front cover picture of the book, we have Avenger on horseback, holding the sceptre like a mace, but not striking with it, while the old one towers over us, casting powerful spells. And there's a different quality scan. I will say on the remake, Avenger is on the horse, the old one is here, leaning over and is holding the mace, and Avenger might be raising up the sceptre to strike, as if to make an attack. I think the central positioning of the old one actually works better for that image. So, we can Tiger's Paw chop and shout Judo chop as we do. No, we probably don't shout Judo chop. Try and strike it with a sceptre. Spur your charger forwards and try to knock the old one to the ground. If you use the sceptre to attack it, you cannot use inner force to double the damage. Well, guess what? We have no inner force points because Honoric stole our last inner force point before the honour duel with his scary, fearsome sword. So we won't be able to use inner force anyway. Additionally, the old one is using a heavy glowing mace. Obviously a magic weapon. We probably don't want to get hit by it. This could be very bad. And if I was a coward, I would probably end the episode now. If I press ahead, it's still probably going to get very different. So I think Tiger's Paw Punch. And there we see the old one, its tentacles grasping the spiked mace. Your horse prances wildly as the old one closes in, and, leaping out of the saddle, you whip your hand down at its head. Wait, so we're out of the saddle now? I think we still count as being in the saddle. We mount up afterwards. The old one has a defense of 7 against the tiger's paw punch, and an endurance of 22, which is a horrendous amount of health. Killing it would be very nice. We do not have a lot of options. So, if we use the sceptre to strike, we don't have any modifiers for that, right? Presumably. And the sceptre only works on those who are not our enemies. This is an enemy, we shouldn't use the sceptre. The horse is scared of the old one, so we probably shouldn't use the horse to try and bash into it and knock it down either. Which means we're just using Tiger's Paw Punch repeatedly. If it hits you, take damage in the normal way and then turn to section 208. We probably cannot afford to let that happen because we have no points of inner force, and that's usually the only way we defend ourselves. So, we will attempt to attack. And we miss. What a great start to the fight. It's going to be one. No, come on. If it still lives, it swings its mace at your ribs. Your defense is 7. It has no modifier. And it misses. Excellent. We will repeat the chop. Map tools, sticky dice, I swear. Watch as it gets like an 11, not fucking 10. So we block and die, presumably. I'm going to do this, right? Just so you can all see, right? Because that is sticky. We got a 3 and a 4 in a row. Just reset the dice, clear the window, because clearly, and we'll even close the dice box, because I would prefer not to use map tools dice and to use any other dice in the world, but it's my only option at the moment, right? Shall I get something better sorted out? 208. As the blow connects, you feel a surge of sorcerous energy that emanates from the black glowing mace threatening to engulf you. Make a fate roll, but subtract 2 from the dice for this roll only. If fate smiles on you, turn to section 218. If fate turns her back on you, turn to 228. And it's a fate roll with -2. So, we have a fate modifier of +1. So we're looking at a -1 for this. So we would be, with our +1 bonus, we are lucky on a 6+. So 7. So 7 is the base number for luck. So we've been fortunate this time. We might not be dead after all. You manage to overthrow whatever magical force threatened you. The old one growls in frustration, so we'll go back to the Tiger's Paw Punch and hope it... Oh god, and we tried to block as well. So yeah. It's doing something bad, and we can't afford to fail another fate... Well, have another fate roll at -2. So, our punch modifier is +1. We get -2 because we blocked. We roll. We do not beat its defense of 7. We get a 7, not high enough. So it will attack us. We block. Map Tools hates us. We go back to the fate roll. and have a very different experience. If fate turns her back on you, then turn to 228. Now, you feel a cold numbing in your very soul. Some part of you has been sucked into the mace. Lose 1 point of inner force. If you have no points of inner force left because Honoric stole it, turn to section 334, which is probably an auto kill at that point, right? All your will and volition have been drained from you. You are now a zombie under the control of the Old One. It forces you to order a general retreat before you are taken back to Doomover as an object of ridicule, an amusing entertainment before you are finally executed. Yeah, that's just horrid. Essentially, in this situation, I can't be asked to go and record the whole battle section again, because that went really well. And what I could have done is end the episode, record multiple versions of a fight until we win, but it's a really hard point to break off after we've done so well. So, what could I have done differently to have some points of inner force left at this point in the adventure? Because basically, the answer really is only just have Shinren. Have Yubijutsu instead of Shinren, and avoid the troll fight at the start of the book. Right? Because we used a point or two on the troll fight, which is avoidable, but at a bit of a cost. We couldn't avoid the 2 points we had to spend on the Dark Elf leader and the Dark Elf sorceress. Those had to be spent, right? So there's also the fight with the Spawn of the Abyss, which could use a hell of a lot of points of inner force, just because you have to try and beat it down so quickly, otherwise it will absolutely murder you. Yubijutsu lets you one-hit kill it, which would save a lot of points of inner force, and then you would have 3 points left at this point in the adventure. You would probably have used 1 or 2 in the fight with Honoric, so you could then use some here to stay alive. It's a really nasty position to be in, because the adventure... Look, there's many points where it's tempting to use it, but the adventure also has lots of forced uses, essentially. The fight with the Spawn of the Abyss literally requires you to spend like 2 or 3 points of inner force. So I'm going to do this fight again and see, because if I were to play the adventure again through to this point, you'd get to see me handle the beginning section in the city differently, right? But it wouldn't make a massive difference. I'd save 1 or 2 points of inner force, which I'd have at this point, but everything else would have been about the same, and I would have been relying on some... Well, the fight with Honoric would have been just as deadly as would the fight with the Spawn of the Abyss, so realistically I'd turn up at the same point with about the same things. And we're so near the end. So, let's start. We didn't land a single bloody hit, right? So let's start with that at least. Hit the bloody thing. Oh, for fuck's sake, fuck off. Seriously. That didn't happen. Okay? Fucking map tools like... Okay, 1, 2, 3... Okay, we're getting a bit of variety. Oh, yeah. Square brackets. We'll even throw in a D1000 there as well, and a D20. Then clear. Then try again and see if... look, don't... Fucking jinxed it! Right, we miss. It attacks. And misses. Great. We attack. And hit. Unfortunately, our attack only does 1 point of fucking damage. And we have to do this through the whole fight, right? Without getting hit once. Okay. Oh god, it attacks and hits. We try block. It misses. Excellent. But now we're chopping at -1. We miss. Unsurprisingly, it also misses. Great. We're back up to our +1 to hit. We hit! Hooray! And we deal 2 points of fucking damage. Okay. And so all we can do here is basically keep rolling the dice and pray that we can block successfully every time it manages to land a hit, because it attacks and misses. Great! Anytime we don't need to block, we get our full attack skill, and we still fucking miss because the dice hate me and Maptools dice are... Oh, and look, it hits, and we block, and it hits again. We do our luck roll and die and get sucked. This is just bad, right? So I think we stop the episode here, because obviously it's going to be tedious and frustrating, and we may just have to accept the lose and replay the whole fucking book. Alright? And honestly, most of it would be the same. Or I'd stop recording now and go, okay, fuck it, guys, we'll try. But what's... You know, if you don't succeed at first, try again. But if you just keep fucking re-rolling, you know, then you're like a bad loser. So I may just have to accept it and go, well, shit. Start at the beginning, work my way, you know, avoid the troll fight. And here's the interesting thing, right? So if you avoid the troll, the only way to avoid the troll fight is to go down the stairs quickly and not insert the orb into your eye socket on the battlements, which means you are doing the whole section against the, you know, all the dark elves and the orcs and everything, right up onto the actual banquet itself with a -1 modifier to everything, which makes that whole section a hell of a lot harder. And then you put the orb in after. I suppose you're supposed to just get so badly beaten up by the troll that you decide to do the other path anyway. Right, so I'm going to end this episode here. Right? Let me know in the comments section what you think I should do. And then we'll see what I end up doing. Because I'm obviously not going to read all the sections again. If I replay through, I will show what is different and any fights, any important dice rolls, right? But for now, it looks like we fell on the battlefield, absolutely destroyed by the old one. But we got a pretty good idea what to do. And you know what? I think as battle plans go, we haven't done that badly here, right? We've done pretty well. I imagine things would go differently if we tried either of the other two plans. They could go very well. I think actually, for some reason, I seem to remember Hivatala's plan being the best, where we refuse this flank and just let them come across the stream and defend heavily over here and here. But I'm not certain on that one, right? It seems a bit dumb. But hey, I'm going to end this episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, cursed though it may be by the old one, and I'll look forward to seeing your suggestions in the comments section between now and when I record the next one. I'll say goodbye for now, everyone, and see you all soon. I don't think there's anything I could have done to improve the results there, apart from pray for better dice rolls, really. A bit like the duel with Honoric, it was just down to the luck of the dice, and let's be honest, Maptools dice fucking hate me. See you all next time, guys. Bye for now.